AC, from our perspective, it looks like Philip Rivers is pretty comfortable out there. From your perspective, does it seem like he's been running this offense for more than a couple of weeks?
AC, just unmute yourself if you don't mind.
Okay.
There we go.
Am I good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, so Phil's a consummate professional. I mean, I think from day one, he didn't seem like he was a new guy here. It was, he just kind of stepped in and he was already very comfortable, and he's been playing football for a long time. And I don't think it seems like he's a new guy. He's taking good command of this offense for sure.
Rich Nye.
Anthony, what is an empty Lucas Oil Stadium like? And heaven forbid that it might be that way when you play home games this season. Did you have any thoughts like that?
Yeah, I mean, for me to say it wasn't different, I'd be lying. I mean, it was definitely different. You go out there and there's nobody in the stadium. It's I mean, football's football. On the field, it's still football, but just the atmosphere is definitely different. It takes a little bit. It took a little bit of getting used to, but for an offense, no noise, home or away. I think we'll be able to manage with that. But obviously, we'd love to have our fans here making noise when the defense is on the field. But the circumstances are the circumstances, and we're gonna have to get used to it. I mean, like I said, football's football, and it's still 11 guys on 11 guys, and the game does not change.
Kevin Bone.
AC, I know leading into camp, you had questions about this season and playing and things like that. From a COVID standpoint, how impressed have you been with the numbers around the league as we are now kind of a month into things?
Yeah, I mean, as far as what I was thinking coming into camp, I had just considered it as anyone should who was given that opportunity, given the circumstances. I was never really highly considering opting out. I just considered it as I should as a part of the union. But yeah, seeing the numbers around the league is extremely good, and it's I think it's showing that guys are taking it extremely seriously, and obviously within the building. There's going to be contact between people, but it just shows kind of the responsibility guys are taking upon themselves when they leave the building to isolate and to make sure that football is the main thing. And, I think that's a credit to the guys in this league.
Stephen Holder.
Hey, AC, there was a time there, I think after halftime, when you guys as an offensive line, you kind of got in that groove that we've seen before. What does that feel like? And does it kind of downhill for you, when you do a little snowball effect there?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get going running the ball, I've said it many times before, but when you got backs who, when you create a little hole, they could turn it into a big one. It feels great. I was actually joking with the offensive lineman on the sideline. I'm like, this is weird since we're on a script. It's like you can't really get in that zone where you get things rolling because it's like, oh, we got a 20-yard run. Okay, come back. It's now 2nd and 8. So, the actual rhythm is kind of tough to get into. And I was joking with Marlon, too, when he broke off that huge run. I'm like, how many times do you break off a huge run for a touchdown and they got to come back and run the ball again next play? He's like, yeah, I think I could have broken further on that one, too, but I didn't want to have to run all the way down and come back again. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely feels good once you get running the ball and kind of can get that get the running game going. I mean, that, I think you've heard all of our coaches preach about it. Once you get the run game going, everything opens up.
Mike Chappell.
Yeah, sort of a follow-up on that. I realize you're busy doing your own work out there on plays. Can you appreciate a Marlon Mack when he breaks off a big run, or do you have to – is that after the fact when you're watching, reviewing video?
I mean, when you open up the hole and then he takes it for a touchdown, you appreciate getting a jog off to the sideline and get some water, knowing that he took a lot of advantage of that big hole and made the drive a little bit shorter and still got the points for it. So you definitely can appreciate it in the moment. It's it's those big plays are an offensive lineman's dream. We love it. So when he could take that little 5-yard gain and break it into a 30, 40-yard gain, we really appreciate that.
Joel Erickson.
Anthony, what have you seen out of Al-Quadin Muhammad this year so far?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy who he works relentlessly. You can see it. I think every year that I've been here, that he's been here the past 3 years, has been significantly better every time that he comes to camp, and he brings it every play. So he makes the people around him better. He's going to make me better this camp. I'd like to hope that I'm making him better as well, and I think that he's going to be someone who's going to contribute to this team in a big way.
Zach Kiefer.
Stacey, I think it's fair to say you're obsessed with your technique, and you work on that a lot during training camp. And you spent the last 2 years going against Justin Houston. I'm curious, what have you learned from him? What's it like going against him and working against the power and the speed and all the experience he has? And what have you how have you gotten better working from him every day?
I think what you get out of that is the fact that you have to be so consistent with your technique, because if you make a mistake, a guy like that who's taken advantage of mistakes, a lot in his career will take advantage of every mistake. So it's just having to be super consistent, and it's that every play mentality, knowing that if my hands are a little bit off or if I'm leaning a little bit, that I'm not going to get away with one. He's going to take advantage of it, and that's how it's going to be in games. So I think that's the biggest thing that we kind of get from working against each other.
And then last question, Stacey Dales.
Hey, Anthony. I have 2 questions for you. The first is, what do you guys feel with a rare practice like this? What did you accomplish today? And then my second question is, can you just describe how in unison, kind of, backing up on what Stephen asked you, just how in unison this line is? I mean, because it's really awesome to watch you guys.
Yeah, I think we accomplished a lot today. It was that, we were all talking to each other how in the locker room before the game, the way the coaches set up the whole day, how it was just like a game day. You get that game day feeling kind of in your gut, and you go out there and the way that we warmed up and took on the day, it was very game-like. And I mean, honestly, as a starting group, we got way more plays in this than I think I got, all of the preseason games last year. So it was good to get those reps. And then as far as being, being in unison as an offensive line, we've been extremely fortunate to have the same guys for, a lot of games. And it's just, kind of that unspoken communication that we just kind of know where each other's going to be. I know how Quentin's going to fit his, our double teams. I know the communication that Ryan uses. We can use a lot of different calls and different things to keep the defense on their heels, because we know kind of like what each other does. It's just it's fun to play with those guys because we have that synergy so well.
If I may follow up quickly just on Phillip and how he's blended with you guys. How would you define your chemistry as a group with him?
He loves being a part of it. I mean, he's like an extension of the offensive line. I think all of our lockers are right next to each other in the locker room. Anytime that we got jokes going on or something, he's right there with us. So I think the chemistry is as good as it could be.